For some reason,
This is
better.
10 times better, way better. I can actually like have a conversation.
Good deal. Yeah, I can hear it's not choppy and you're smooth as can be. That is, I had to have been on a guest connection or something, which I only use this phone to record video B-roll and stuff. But anyways, I guess I'll wait for people to come back in because they all left. They're all like, piss on this. I'm out. Let's
Yeah,
see.
we had a small handful there. I was answering questions about speakers and my
Yeah.
past
Oh, you're
business.
probably gonna get bombarded. I might just be quiet during this and just kind of try to
You
look
know what? This whole thing,
prophetic.
I'm actually really, really thankful that you reached out, to be honest, because I've been wanting to do more stuff like this. And
Yeah.
you know how it goes when you hit a certain proficiency with one subject and you're kind of like, sometimes you just need that little push to like get into lives or whatever.
Yeah. And I try, like, people ask, do more lives, do more of this, do more of that. And it's like, I'd love to. Part of it's time. And part of it is just like, what format? Like, just getting everybody on the same page and the same site. Like, some people want to use StreamYard and Riverside, and there's just so many different things. And YouTube rolled this thing out, and I'm like, maybe that would be easy. Maybe you could just hop on our phones, do the whole live together thing. And if it works like this, which it's worked really well the past two times, like, sometimes simplicity just helps give that push. So there you
Yeah.
go, folks. Jordan is here. I am not ruining it with laggy video and audio now. So ask away, and I will just look at the spots in my studio that could use some sound treatment.
No, I want to talk to you too. I actually do want to talk to you, so please don't.
Oh no, you're good. Yeah, you're good. I'm sorry that I got early. I thought we were 2 hours apart, and it turns out I'm an hour early, and you hopped
Do you
on.
guys
Thankfully,
do daylight savings?
yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a few weeks, maybe.
Just wondering if think there, because I know some provinces in I'm from Canada. I don't know if you know that or not,
No,
but
no.
some provinces in Canada don't do it. So
I have noticed that a litany of people that I've met that are into either audio podcasting or YouTube channels are from Canada.
yeah, I used to work at like a pretty high end marketing agency. We had like all the stats from those huge conglomerate companies, and Canada's like internet consumption in terms of videos watched per person is like second highest in the world.
Is it
So it's like,
really?
yeah,
And how do you guys have your shit together so much better than we do down here?
I don't know. I don't know what the difference is,
Hey, there's a
but
difference. I can tell you that. Like, everybody I've met from Canada, not to be cliche, but I mean, much more laid back, much more cool, uses rhyme and reason a lot more. Not to insult the guests in here that are from America, but I feel like I'm a misplaced Canadian living in Ohio. But
yeah, I think we're halfway British because they kind of
yeah,
have that everything rolls off them.
yeah, must be nice as well. But go back to, like, because I'm always intrigued. Because of course, I think if anyone has the, I hate to say courage to start a YouTube channel, but it does take throwing yourself out there. Like, and the goal for most of us that do this is like, oh, we would just love to do this and not do a 9 to 5. How how'd that started? How's it going? What made you make that decision? Like, I know Tom Buck's story, and it's just interesting. Like, if you had a podcast talking about this, I'd be all in. But yeah, I want to hear just kind of a quick step by step.
Yeah, well, I can do the whole wind up if you want. It would take a couple minutes. If that's
You do
sure.
whatever you want. You're the guest. I'm just the guy that makes a lot of dick and fart jokes. So you just take it away in a better manner.
Yeah, so in 2010 is when I started Kettner Creative. So it's been quite a haul. But Kettner Creative was, like I just mentioned, working for a marketing agency. So I was doing marketing consulting for Toys R Us and Allstate Insurance and all these kind of big brands. I was actually like on the phone call with Toys R Us when like they decided to make a Facebook fan page. It's like that was
Nice.
like a big moment back then in like
Yeah.
2008. But so I quit that agency. So I started Kettner Creative, which was supposed to be a web design company and like SEO and marketing. And then one thing led to another, and I started to think, video is the future of the web. And before all this, I was the first employee, and my brother started a company that's now known as Drumeo. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them, but it's like guitarlessons.com.
Russell started that?
Yeah, so my brother and Jared Falk were partners.
Yeah, I know
They're
Drumeo.
Jared Falk. Yeah. Yeah, Drumeo. So then I was their first video editor. My brother made a video called like how to heel toe technique on the kick drum, and then after that they become partners, and I helped edit them. So I worked for them until 2007. Then I went to school thinking I would learn the proper way to do things. Then I just figured out that everybody's making it up. Like the stuff that we were doing at Drumeo at that time, we were actually like pushing the edge of what like Adobe Premiere and some of these programs could do. And I think it was a bit of a fool's errand to think going to school was better than being in like that startup culture.
Yeah.
And that's probably one of the bigger mistakes that I made, because I feel like if I would have hung with them for 2 years, I would have got more practical experience with like those like a video agency. But so yeah, that's an interesting part of that story. I still have family members that work there and stuff, but then all my video clients started asking if I would film their conferences, live events. So then Kettner Creative actually, we fired all our web clients. We became a production company. So in 2013, I went full time with that. We were just doing live events. And then in 2017, I made like this ghetto video on YouTube.
Gotta start somewhere.
It's just brutal. I'm like exhausted. Like seriously, from like 2013 until COVID 2020, I was easily working 80 hours a week at events, plus 10 or 20 hours of like admin and prep and hiring and all that stuff. So easily 100-hour weeks, 7 days a week, get home at midnight, leave at 4 a.m. running events. But then I had this idea just to do a video for our walk-in clients on how to set up a sound system. I did that and a couple other videos. But then when COVID hit, I was just bored, and like having a heart attack has just murdered my company. Um, but yeah, so I went back on YouTube, and that video had like 1 million views. I was like, I did not even try on that video. That was
Your
like,
one?
yeah. So it's like first video. So it's like a tripod just thrown up in the warehouse, clip on lav mic, just horrible. Like, well, I mean, some group of people found that helpful. So why don't I take like my corporate event experience and talk about that on YouTube? But it turns out that it's like that doesn't really connect to a lot of people. And just following the path of least resistance, I took the live sound stuff and just morphed it to home studio stuff, and then it just like really took off. So then I read a book called "They Ask You Answer." It's literally just make a video on any question that comes in. I'm like, that doesn't sound tough. And I
No.
had like expertise and like a couple of our videos with like Yamaha MG10, those with that small audio mixer. Those videos just carried the channel for a while, because I don't think there's too many people in the world that can say, I've used this at 1,000 events. Here's what you have to know about this mixer, right? It's like,
Yeah.
well, yeah, how many people can say that about? So, yeah, I had some credibility, and that helped fire up the channel. And from there, we just kind of play around. I don't know, fun. But yeah, so your first question on the before the internet cut out said like COVID like murdered my company. We were doing 1,200 events a year. We had a team of like 12 guys, and literally we came back on like that Friday the 13th. So March 12th, we did a huge launch for a new BMW thing at a BMW dealership. Like we had awesome clients doing huge events. And we never even unloaded the truck, and our business was dead. Like we had like 300 to $500,000 of cancellations in 24 hours.
Oh man.
It was like we never even unloaded the truck. It was just me and my wife like crying in the warehouse for 2 days. Just like, what the fuck?
That's yeah.
And
Wow.
like, and you're trying to be like, you lead a team, and like, we had trucks running 24/7 and guys running 20, and you're trying to like here's our like, what plan do you have? You don't have a plan. You just got like every 30 seconds the phone rings and it's another contract that was signed yelling at you for their deposit back.
Yeah,
Oh
and what do
my
you
God.
do? I mean, it's a whole new situation. It's a whole new, not something we haven't experienced in our lifetime.
And you find out what kind of person you want to be, right? Do you want to
Yeah,
be the guy that knifes everybody and holds on to your contract money, or do you want to play the long game and refund everybody 100 cents on the dollar? And like that's what we did. We paid everybody 100%, and then we got knifed on the receivables.
yeah,
So like we just got murdered. But at the end of the day, when you look at the whole thing, talk about it like almost every week here, it's like it's a net positive. Like I work 4 hours a day now instead of 20.
yeah.
My kids know my name. I got to take them to school and do. Turns out like yeah, all that stuff is good. So
That
net
shit's
positive.
important. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know how many people out there are trying to do the YouTube thing. I hate to say for the right reasons, but just for I don't know, to me the right reasons are those things like working 4 hours a day, getting to spend time with your kids, not killing yourself for a job, Like it's great to be able to also employ other people like you had people working for you and your team, and that's great to give somebody, a job that they more than likely enjoyed. But man, it just I don't know how old you are. You're clearly younger than I am, I think, but the
I'm
just
35. Yeah,
not too much. But yeah, the older you get, it's like the priorities just shift and they change. And
yeah.
yeah,
I
it's
always said I wanted to like work my butt off. I had no problem working those hours because honestly, like the job, I always found the job extremely rewarding. We did like 3 events a day, and it was like wham bam, everything just had to be perfect, and you're just executing on like a timeline. You're just like pumped full of adrenaline all day, and I found that like awesome. And then at
yeah,
2 a.m., you slam the truck, you high five your guys, like we did it again. That's awesome.
right.
But yeah, it's not sustainable. I always said that I wanted to just work my butt off until my oldest kid turned 5, and then take like the net gains from that business, and you know those were like my working years that I like defined. And then I obviously I probably would have never found a way out of that business because it's so relationship based, and you would needed something like COVID to
Yeah.
interrupt the pattern.
And it sounds like you were still enjoying it, so it wasn't a matter of like it running its course. Your
I
hands were.
was at the breaking point,
Oh,
definitely
okay.
running like yeah, it was a lot of back at midnight and leaving at 4 a.m. over and over and over. And it was like it's fun. I loved it. I loved the clients, but it's like everybody in the event industry says that.
Yeah. It's I don't know, and it's tough, and I get it to an extent. Like I've never been in that same situation, but my wife, who is very supportive of this venture of me trying to make this into something, for the future, which is tough with audio stuff. I mean, people do it, but when you're just a guy talking about microphones, it's a little harder, especially when you don't know what the hell you're talking about for the most part. But uh, yeah, she actually took the leap. She's definitely not an online personality or podcaster or anything like that, but she's a hell of a baker, and she decided to just run with a cupcake business. She quit her job. She's going first, I guess you could say. She's doing her thing first, and the whole reason I was like, "Hey, you want to hop on tonight?" Because she got a shit ton of orders, and she's probably going to be baking till 1 or 2 a.m. I'm like, well, I need to find something to do tonight. So hopefully Jordan's still game to do this. But yeah, but that alone has changed my life. Like just seeing her go for it and it's working. And now she's got her cupcakes in a bunch of local stores and it's just rolling downhill really fast at this point. And I'm like, come on, sell some more cupcakes. Like I'll quit my job. I'll just do this. You can cover me for a little bit. And we'll see. We're not quite there yet, but I would actually love to get my hand forced in that situation because the first time I made the decision to walk away from too many hours and too much work, which was the highest paying job I've ever had by far, that was I had to make that decision. Like I just sat in my living room crying, not because I lost the business, but because I never saw my kids. ever.
Yeah.
And I was like, something's got to change. Like, I know I make good money, but that's not what it's all about at all. So one thing
The
led to another. And
family
I need to start trying to do things for myself and quit working for corporations.
the family stuff aside, what would you like your perfect YouTube channel ideal be? What would
Cut, you cut out just a little. Do you ask what my perfect channel idea would be?
YouTube
Like,
channel like how much time a day would you spend? What types of videos do you wish that if you were full time you could make that you can't make now?
the that's a funny question because if I could choose what kind of videos I make, I honest to God would choose to make the same ones. So if for some reason I got lucky enough to where I did not have to work a 9 to 5 and I had all that time at my disposal, I probably wouldn't do anything different. Like, I know a lot of people as they grow with the creator stuff, they get bigger and better equipment. They get better cameras. They get thank you guys for showing up, by the way. Bigger, better cameras. The look is better. Everything's better. I, this is a really dumb statement at my age, but I grew up a fucking punk through and through. I always had problems with authority. I always just wanted to do what I wanted to do and nothing more. And if it was too complicated, I was like, fuck it. If it was too much work, I was like, nope. Like, there's got to be a way to do exactly what you want to do and make it work. So my videos would look the same, 100%. I would still record them with this phone, and just I wouldn't change a thing. I would just enjoy being able to do it for probably 4 hours a day, like you said you do. Like 4 hours a day would be perfect. Probably 4 hours a day, 4 days a week, and
I
I would just do the same thing.
I like your videos. Like honestly, and that's like kind of I had like an era where I made like similar videos like how do you get the most out of this like XLR to USB cable? Like let's just
Yeah,
really dig into it.
yeah,
And the reason that I like moved on from that is like honestly just like the comments are like you're doing it wrong. As if I didn't know that there's a better way. And
right.
finally I got enough of them. I'm like, I just want to see how to do it like right. Like I probably have like 50 videos on how to set up a Scarlett 2i2. And
Yeah,
it's like, well, all right, I guess like at the end of the day, I just want to answer people's questions and give them help and like get them on their way as fast as possible because somewhere they're just sitting with a pile of equipment in front of them and they don't know. So like, oh, like I guess if I can help more people, but like I like the videos you make. Like I think there is a group of people trying to do like interesting things like that, and it makes sense.
yeah, and I just I want to keep it simple. And then whenever
Yeah.
I have a complicated question, and it may not be necessarily always complicated, but when I run into something like, um, I have tried multiple times to, get a nice camera in. Like, I've owned a Sony ZV-1 and tried mirrorless this, mirrorless that. And I'm like, you know what? Like, it's better. I see the visual aspect of it being better, but I can't just plug my interface into it and go, like I have to run wires and this and that, which is fun too. But when I toyed around with doing that, I was like, all right, I'm gonna head over to Kettner Creative and see what he suggests on, just wiring straight to a mirrorless camera or a DSLR. I think I even messaged you and asked or something like, do you
Oh yeah.
hear a difference, like a major difference in running it this way as opposed to that way? And yeah, there's so much stuff that I don't know and that I want to learn, but at my own pace. And at the same time, I kind of want that to be seen on the channel. Like, I've had plenty of comments like, dude, you're clearly not a professional, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, I know. I've said that so many times on my videos. Like, I am not a professional. I do not expect you to listen to me. But if you want to hear what this weird ass microphone that I found somewhere random for 20 bucks sounds like, and you can't find a shred of evidence that it exists on the internet, I'm your guy. Like, I will find it. Or if you point it out, I will find it and I will make that purchase before you do so you know whether or not it's a good idea.
Yeah. I have a similar kind of philosophy. Like I watch like a video by like Tom Buck. I'm like, this is a beautiful. like scripted, produced,
Yeah.
2, maybe 3 camera shoot. He has like a story, a narrative. He's so much better at all that stuff. At the end of the day, like I know videos that I can make. I know I can go from concept to being on YouTube in about 2 hours, and then I have some like optimization and thumbnails and stuff like that. I'm like, that's the video that I can make. I can't like full of self doubt that I couldn't make a video like Tom Buck. It's just that I wouldn't. Like
Yeah.
his videos, it's just that's not where I can put my energy. And it's not a match for my personality type. But I can do like these 2 camera, just slice and dice and ram it out thing pretty easy because at the end of the day, they just want to know how to do whatever they're trying to do with their equipment. But yeah, I get totally stuck whenever like if I'm on a run where I make like 15 videos in 15 days, then I keep like the quality just kind of keeps going up. And then it becomes like, no, this video takes 6 hours and it's not fun because I
Yeah.
don't get like the instant payoff. Like it's a different thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we're not Tom. Like, Tom's great,
Yeah.
and I go watch Tom when I wanna just well, I like Tom's personality. I go for that a lot of the time, but, but I do like his visuals. I like the colors. I like just the way he blends stuff, but then, I also like I feel like most viewers on YouTube that are subscribing to those really big channels, and I'm not talking about Tom. Like, Tom's got a great following, but, like, anyone that's got 4 or 500,000 subscribers, like, I feel like the majority of those, they want the same content across different creators. Like, they want it their way, and they want it I don't know, they want the thumbnail of one guy's to look like the other. They just want it all to be the same.
Yeah.
And me, as a viewer, I just try to look at everything from a viewer perspective. Like, if I want a straightforward, easy to understand answer and this cool ass background of like what looks like you're still using your equipment from your last job,
Yeah.
that's where I'm gonna go. Like, if I need a simple answer, straight to the point, like, teach me this, like, I know I can go to you. And if I want a little more story or something intertwined, or if I want to laugh, I go to this guy. Or, there's just so many different ways to go. And
That's
not
what I
not
always tell
pumping
people.
up my guests, but when I want to learn something as quick as possible that I have a question about, I go to you first because you're probably going to have something related to a query that I have, as opposed to me
Yeah.
just looking for entertainment.
That is like kind of my philosophy. Like I don't want to be telling stories unless it's like relevant to like the hey, I did this once at an event and it went sideways. Don't do that. But like, yeah, definitely all meat and potatoes. I forget what other point I was going to make there, but yeah, it's just whenever people ask me about like how should I start making YouTube videos, I tell them like there's a group of people that want to watch explain a video, and there's a group of people that want to watch you explain a video, and there's a group of people that want to watch Tom or Podcastage or whoever else. And those aren't the same people. Everybody just wants to hear their guy because the way that they deliver the message connects with them. Like it sounds like
Yeah,
the way that my videos deliver the message connects with you. But I know there's people that watch Tom sing on like camcorder versus DSLR and all that stuff. And it's like they get a ton out of that, help them solve their problem. So it's like, yeah, there's just groups of people. So like whenever like I have friends that ask me how they should get started, like, and if they're like okay with them copying my videos or whatever, I'm like I don't care because there's going to be a group of people that want to see you explain it because you're going to have your own thing, right? Everybody has context.
yeah,
But yeah, mine is definitely like meat and potatoes.
yeah.
Like
And,
there's
and
no,
and if I think about it in the exact context you're saying, like, when I do have a free hour in the evening and I lay down with my wife and we watch something on TV, which is somewhat rare, I don't watch the same show every night. I don't just watch, a how-to home repair show. I don't watch more than one sitcom. I don't watch more than one drama. I have to have variety.
yeah,
So that's where we come in. If somebody wants to just see what kind of ridiculous statement or blurb that should be edited out, that I'm like, no, fuck that. I'm not I'm not editing that out. I'm leaving it in. That just Yeah, just have variety. Like YouTube is about variety. That's why there are tons and tons of channels that are, 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 subs. Like, we I'd get really bored. It's like music. If I listen to the same band or same genre of music all the time, I'd be miserable.
It is so crazy with YouTube because, like, even in our genre, like, I don't know how many guys there are. There's 10, I would say, that are, like, mostly about microphones, and then maybe there's, like, 20 or 30 in the sphere. It's like, you can forget about a guy, and then a year later, you're like, "Oh, yeah, that guy was awesome." He's like
Yeah,
but he wasn't in your feed for, like, 6 months, and then you'll go deep and watch, like, 10 of his videos, like, "Oh, that's so good the way that he does
yeah.
it." And then he'll just disappear into, like, the ether again. You're like, "There's so many people."
And I guess that's why so many people, beg to for you to hit that notification bell. Like, I need reminded sometimes. I'm like, shit, I forgot about him or I forgot about her. Like, I need to hit that notification bell because then there's one I found yesterday and I already can't remember his name. I've only watched like 3 videos, but he's a voiceover guy and he's great and his voice is fucking fantastic and he's cool as can be. And I'm like, I gotta remember to hit the notification bell on that guy because I cannot forget about this dude again. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's a thing, man. It's cool sometimes. Like I know that certain viewers latch on to people, but like I don't know if you take it as a compliment or not. But like, have you ever been lumped in with a creator or two creators? Like, oh man, I love you and them, and it's like it just feels good sometimes to even be mentioned in the same breath with people that have taken it farther.
Yeah, like, even in YouTube Studio, they say, like, "Your viewers also watch these channels." You're like, "Oh,
Yes.
that's interesting." Like, I wouldn't have expected somebody from that audience to be watching enough videos of mine to lump me in. I'm like, "Well, that's alright. That's cool."
Yeah. And I think
Yeah.
it makes me glad that I'm not a camera guy because there's a ton of those. I don't know if there's a ton of like more audio focused people. There are, but the camera guys, man, I can't keep track of those. I
Yeah.
cannot keep track of the camera guys. There's a million, it seems.
And it doesn't even feel good trying because their stuff looks so good. It's just
Yeah.
like,
I'm
"Oh,
out.
I am horrible."
Yeah.
My stock, like, everything's just, like, bolted to a frame here. There's no creative nothing. Yeah.
But it is. But it is. It's I don't know. Sometimes shit can be too flashy. Like, have you ever watched Clerks, the movie Clerks, Kevin Smith film?
I don't think so, no.
I mean, it's like a '90s. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it, but tr Clerks, Mallrats, Jay and Silent Bob, are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
Clerks is basically one of the first Jay and Silent Bob movies. It's a black and white
Oh, okay.
film shot with, I don't know, nothing cutting edge, but great movie, and Blair Witch Project, maybe not so great now, but I watched that like 5 times in theaters and it was the quality was shit, it's just the content was good. Not saying your background is shit, but I love your background because it's just different. Like I can't go anywhere else on YouTube and get that background. That background, if I see those at an event, because that's where I would see them. It takes me back to one of my jobs when we had an annual meeting and there was banners and all kinds of lighting and if I see those, I'm like, oh, Kettner Creative right there.
Yeah, it's a brand element now.
Yeah.
If you're familiar with, like, Drumeo, they used to have, like, those sound panels behind, like, the
Yep.
blew up lights with those sound like, they own that. And it's
Yep.
just, like, generic sound panels, and this is just, like, generic black truss, but it's, like now if you see it I used to have my face in thumbnails, and it kinda I just hated taking those pictures. They're
Can't
such
do it.
they work, but they don't but anyway.
I
So,
haven't had
yeah,
luck.
now this brand element that, like you said, if they see this with, like, a fluorescent I describe it as, like, candy colors,
Yeah.
but it's like, you just know what the video is gonna be. And same thing, like, I've seen, like, you now, like, using, like, the brick and, like, parts of your studio, and it's like, that's so, like, smart. It's like
Foam brick at
yeah.
that with
Is
sticky
it?
shit on the other side of it. Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it's
awesome.
it's just it's wall decoration, and it's not even it doesn't even go all the way out. Like it's gray on down the line.
Yeah, nice.
So and shit all over the place. Beer fridge, guitars, skateboards. Not that I skateboard. I'm too old for that shit. But yeah, TV in the background, some black brick shit, and I'm
Well, the thing
literally
that
sitting
most
there.
people don't know is that I film inside of a sea can. I'm
What
literally
it
inside of, those sea containers that they ship stuff on through, like, boats?
now that see,
Literally,
that gives your channel even more character. I'm even more intrigued now. Like, that's awesome to me.
so this thing, because I never had space at my house, first got into that, there's a bit of the Canadian accent, house. Um,
It's
yeah,
about
we're just like,
time you
well,
used it.
yeah, I don't have a room, I don't have a space for it. I'm like, we can throw a sea can outside in, like, 24 hours. I'm like, do it.
Yeah. Dude,
'Cause we just
you did the same thing as me. Like, I literally this is a prefab, like, storage building with double doors on one side, another door here. I even bought it used, and it's got, like, linoleum floor. It already had wiring ran. I had it delivered. I set up my studio quotations, and that's, to me, that's endearing because it's like you care so much about what you're doing that, you'll do whatever it takes to get the space to make it happen, and not a
it
soul
was
they know now what you're in, but they wouldn't have known before.
it was brutal though, because if it rained, I couldn't film. I have it relatively well insulated that when you're in there, it's fine. But if it rained, I was like done. But now I actually built like a 2,000 square foot shop, and this is inside of that now, just as like an homage. But it's like it's also like a room inside of a room, so I got like the
Yeah.
air gaps and everything, and but yeah, I kept the sea can just because it's like, it's what we do here now.
Yeah, I wouldn't have got rid of it.
Yeah,
Just like my idea to grab this prefab building and do what I did with it. Like, that's just a cool idea. I mean, that's beginnings. I wouldn't want to leave my beginnings, even though you build around it. It's really
yeah,
cool.
exactly. That's exactly the
I
thought.
would have never known. Did it take a lot to get that, sounding decent?
We've always had it off the ground, so that's good. And then we brought in a spray foam guy. They spray foamed it. That took a little bit of the edge off. And then since I came from the event industry, we just had like a ton of this black drape. It's called velour drape, but it just eats up all the kind of stuff. So
Yeah,
it's pretty handy. And then even behind the truss, there's white drape back there. Um,
yeah. And then you got
it didn't always used to be like
what are
that.
you using to? Do you have like some floor lights that are pointing up in the back of there? Or
Yeah, they're called so they're
yep,
from the event industry. Those things are like $1,000 a pop. So it's
God,
like, no, I can't recommend that to anybody with a straight face, but we just had them from the other business. But they're like waterproof, 20-hour battery. You can control them with like your phone, or you can hook them up to like a pro lighting. Like they're like way overkill for what I'm doing now. I'm like,
but you had them.
I'd
Glad you had them.
sell them for 50 cents on the dollar and end up with something worse. So, yeah, yeah, 8 of them. It's perfect.
Yeah, might as well just keep them. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's interesting. Like, this is why I want to do this stuff, just to learn more. And by the way, like, I am a very blunt, straightforward person. I tell everybody that hops on this with me, all three of them now. But if at any time you just need to go, you just do that. Like, it's all good. I don't know how long you expect to be on here, or how long you want to do anything. I'm good for a while, at least until my
same.
phone batteries died. But you can do, you do whatever you need to do. But yeah, it's yeah, doing this. It's really cool to learn that I'm not the only person that I know now that just set up set up four walls and just started doing it.
Yeah. And even in terms of like momentum, like there's been like eras where I take like a month off, and then you come back and you're like, well, like a lot of work to make a video, and you're kind of like out of the rhythm. When you're in the rhythm, it's fine. But then I always make some like throwaway video, like, can this interface power a set of 250 ohm headphones? It's like a 90-second video, but just like, feels good to get one out. Now the
Yeah,
flywheel's going again. Then tomorrow I'm gonna make one that's like 3 minutes. Okay, let's do that. And you just kind of play this like creator game with yourself to get momentum going. What's the least thing that I can do today? Okay, let's do
yeah.
that.
And usually for me, that's a short since they introduced those. Like, I finally found a way to have fun doing them. And it's just kind of like the mic battle stuff. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's one thing I wish I could do is find a way to make some longer videos. Because, like, when I have just a handheld microphone, like, I'll look at my counter and I'm like, oh, I'm at a whopping 3.5 minutes and I'm done. Like, what do I do? Like, nothing. Fucking produce it, put it out, be done. But what do you do to what's up, Bandrew of Podcastage? Thank you as well for that. But what do you do to battle burnout? Do you get burnout? Do you like
Yeah, yeah, I definitely there's I'm not like, I'm really bipolar with my YouTube channel. Like, I'll go a month and make, like, 40 videos in a month, and then I'll literally take 3 months off and just disappear. So it's just
not a bad
kinda
idea. I call
yeah,
that the vault, pulling videos
'cause
from the vault.
and it's like it's an awesome thing about not doing lifestyle videos, right?
Yeah.
Nobody cares where I am today. If I can make a video that helps answer somebody's question or gives them a little bit of information or a little bit of context, then that's awesome and helpful, and so but then those videos last for the time, like, I have a video on, like, how to set up a projector from, like, 2020 that's just, like, cooking. It has nothing to do with my channel, it's just
Yeah.
it's like, "Alright."
Yeah.
Yeah,
What it's all about.
yeah, it just yeah. Yeah, I kinda look at them I don't think of it, like, too businessy, but I do think of, like, every video as an asset, like a rental property, like, you just throw it out there and it'll just cook for a while and do its
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that's my approach is somewhat like that. It's definitely uh which some people have different definitions of what quality is, but I am definitely all about quantity. So like
Yeah.
I found myself more like I'll look back and I'll be like, shit, man, I had 20 videos just in March. What am I doing? Like what am I is there am I putting any thought behind this at all? Or am I just like, fuck it. Let's
And
just
I could
some
not care less about the algorithm, like, I don't know if you
oh, I
like,
don't care.
on Sunday, I launched, like, 7. I'm like, "Should I time delay them? Yup. Should I
Yeah.
do I care enough to do it? Nope." Like, I just wanna click the button and be like, they come out 30 minutes apart on YouTube as fast as I'm editing, bop, 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 and then I'll go quiet for, like, 3 weeks. It's like, I don't
I'm
care.
kinda like that. I usually do, like, the early release stuff to, like, channel members, so if I've got 7 ready, I'm like, "Well, members are getting 6 videos this week," and then
I
I'll just
wanted to do the
public
whole YouTube channel membership thing, I just did not have the patience to, like you said, "Well, I have a video, so now I gotta give them the early release," and I was like now I just say for YouTube supporters, like, "If you want, it's a donation, but, like, I don't expect anything from me." I'm not like
yeah.
yeah, I went down that for a while, but
I think
it's
that's
not
the
where
main
my energy is.
I think that's the main reason I did the membership is just because I was my videos are so easy to produce. So I was just pumping them out, and I'm like, "Man, I don't wanna, like" I don't want Loudon Audio to send me a microphone and me give it, like, 12 hours of play before I release one from another company, so I'll stagger them that way, like, they'll be uploaded, they'll be ready, but I'll just, I'll go into work in the morning and be like, "Ah, do I have one to release today?" Like, "Oh, yeah, there's that early release one, I'll just make it public,"
Do
and
you
people seem to appreciate that a little bit, but
do you approach videos differently, or do you feel differently making videos that are, like, sponsored or donated or
yes and no. Um, I was talking about I was talking about this with Bronson from Audio Hotline because me and him have become like I don't know closer than anyone I know around here. Like I talk to him, we just talk daily, and we were discussing that a little bit too. And it is I try to be principled. We actually mentioned you, Andrew, if you're still here, because you're very principled. Like he keeps every microphone. He doesn't accept money, which is awesome. I have to accept money. Like I literally have to if I ever want to make this a thing. And my goal is to not work a 9 to 5. Like some people love a 9 to 5. I hate a 9 to 5. I hate working for other people. I hate, you know, I don't like it. I just want to do what I want to do because life is too damn short. So when someone sends me product and there's no payment, like I don't have any second thoughts about that at all. If it sucks, it sucks, and I tell them like I'm not, there will be no sugarcoating it if I don't like this thing, even if I unjustly don't like it, even if it's a quirk for me that I don't like something about this. Just know it'll be said. I won't be harsh about it, but it'll be said. Like I don't want to beat anything down, but if I don't like something, I don't like something. But if I've only been paid on a couple, and one of them was a Sterling Audio video, and they sent me like 3 dynamic mics, and just wanted them all featured together, and I was like, "I'm gonna treat this, since I'm being paid." Like, I told him, I was like, "If you're paying me," I was like, I'm not going to just flat out recommend any of these mics to anyone. It's gonna be more like a product demonstration and what I think each mic would be good for if you were to choose one of these 3 mics. Like, kinda keep it, like, not bite the hand that feeds clean off, but at the same time, like, I'm not gonna pump them up. Like, it's gonna be a product demonstration. I think I kinda said something along those lines when I did it. Luckily, I had experience with 2 of the 3 mics already, so I kinda knew that they were solid, but I don't like that feeling. Like, it was nice to get paid for that one, but I would love to get this to a point to where I also would rather not be paid. Like, hopefully, it would just I'd be perfectly happy if the channel content, the ad revenue, the affiliate link stuff, I'd be perfectly happy if that was that because I'm not really much of a money guy anyways, which is weird 'cause I'm in banking. But I just want what I need. I don't want too much. Like, I just need what I need to keep my family going, to keep what I'm doing going. I don't fucking wanna be rich. If I was, I'd give most of it away because there's people that need it. I don't need it. I just need to be okay. So,
Yeah.
hopefully I get to that point. But which I am with my job. But hopefully I can get that to that point without a 9 to 5. So, ultimately, I would love to not take any kind of payments to do any kind of reviews, but in the early stages of trying this, like, yeah, I'll take your money and this is how I'm going to treat the video. And if you don't want to do it, that's fine. And so on and so forth.
Yeah. I did one brand deal for a company, and it was similar to that. They really I made some videos on their product and they liked them, and the guy was just, like, emailing me, and he was, like, a fan, basically, but he worked at a good manufacturer, and then they wanted to do another video, so I basically told him that, like, I could do it, but literally, I just billed him for studio time. Like, my studio and me is worth 200 bucks an hour, it'll take 10 hours to do, and this is what we're gonna do, and this is the video you're gonna get. Just build it out as if I was a production company. And even then, it's like, I did all the disclosures and all that on the video, and it's just like, that was my least favorite video to produce of all time. Like, right now, if I wanna do last week, I've just been murdering mic activators lately. It's like, that's just what I was into that week, and I find when I go deep on a subject I did it once before on, like, XLR cable, where I ripped apart, like, 10 different XLR cables, and, like, it's fun for me because you do them so wham bam that you're, like, in it. It's like reading 3 books on the same subject. You get well-rounded and you can so, like, but when somebody says, "Video 4 has to be about this," like, ugh, it's like, no, I don't even like, I wanted to make that video genuinely before I sold it to him. Once he paid me, I'm like, I don't even wanna make the video, like, it just feels I don't like it anymore. It's not
It
fun.
does take the fun out of it. Yeah. Like,
It's like, now to deliver a thing, and that one was like a how to set up video, and a lot of videos like that, so it's like bread and butter, but at the same time, you're just like, "Well, they're paying me," and I wouldn't say, like, "This doesn't work." It just, like, it just changes it. From that
yeah.
moment on, like, I'm just gonna buy everything. It's like, I don't like this feeling. It's
No, it's not good. I actually made this statement the other day too in the same conversation with, Bronson. Uh, we were just talking about how companies sometimes they just expect so much. And I was like, and of course this is my young, you know, punk loving self coming out. I was like, I have had 3 companies completely cut me off and be like, "We're not fucking with you anymore." And I'm like, "That's kind of a win." Like, that feels kinda nice, It's like, at least it reminds you a little bit, like, at least I do have at least most of the integrity I went into this with, like, for a company to be like, "Yeah, we're not messing with you anymore." So now I just
I
kinda
had
know.
one overseas company that's like, they've just been peppering me for fucking ever, and they're just like, "We're gonna send this. We're gonna send this. We're gonna send this." I'm like, "No, like, don't." And then finally, I'm like, "You can send it. It's going into a black hole. I promise you, I'm not gonna look at it." And then they're like, "Okay, okay." And then they're like, "Well, let us know when you make a video about this so we can ramp up our." I'm like, "No, okay, I don't even want it to go to a black hole anymore. I'm gonna refuse the package." Like, That is not what I'm saying, even a little bit. Like, I want no part of your brand. I was just being polite. Like, you sent 20 of these. Like, just stop. Stop. Like, that's
That had to be from a different continent. I'll just say that.
yeah. Yeah. So, like, all the stuff on my website is like, I would love to hear from companies that have like North American distribution, like proper, because like, and I don't want like free stuff. I don't want this. I just want to like have a discussion so I can be like, what were you guys thinking when you made this? Or like, what did you see? Because there's some products out there where you're like, where does that fit in the market? Like, I don't. I know I'm missing what they were aiming for, and a couple of them are actually like pretty big. Like, it's not what they marketed, but it's yeah. So like, I want to get a conversation going so I can like understand the product. But
Yeah, I understand exactly what you're talking about because one company in particular sent me an interface, and I emailed them after using it, and I was like, I'm not trying to be rude, but this is garbage. Like this is just straight garbage. Like I can't review this. I can't put this on my channel unless you're completely cool with me just shitting all over it. Podcasted. Sorry, I'm not reading all the comments. They pop up and they go. But Andrew said, what did he say? You could probably see it too, right?
where to send it, dear? It's always dearest. Yeah.
Give me that back. My dearest Kettner. It reminds me of like the Twitter accounts that are like General Andrew Luck. Dearest Mr. Kettner. Damn it, it went away. Damn you,
I
YouTube.
read it, but I don't know if I could repeat it. But
Well, that's
not
what it
because it
said.
was bad or
Okay.
anything, but just it was just a cliche. We've all got those
Oh yeah. Yeah.
coming in, and I
But they
don't say
sent
that to
me
be pretentious, but
no. And that company, they sent me a second interface. And the problem with the interface was you turn on Phantom Power and it squealed like a hog. Like it was like just it sounded like fucking pig. And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with this thing? And they're like, okay, we'll send you another one. So they sent me another one in a different color, of course, because that makes things better. And I turned
right.
Phantom Power on. It was like, this is unusable. I was like, you guys can't, and I can't tell them what to do, but I was like, you can't sell this. Like, you can't do this. And that shit was on sale, you know, a week later. And I was like, and of course the reviews are just god awful. I was like, why didn't they
Yeah.
listen? Like I never did put it on my channel. I've got two of those damn interfaces sitting here right now somewhere that I'm trying to sell off as like, dynamic mic only and kind of weak for even that. But like, why don't you just listen? Like building a brand is, you can't just put shit out. It sometimes it works, I guess, but in restaurants for the most part, but nobody's gonna buy an interface if it sounds like a earthquake siren going off. It was bad. But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't understand that. I'm like, why do some companies just simply not give a shit at all and just want their shit on YouTube?
Yeah. Yeah. It's not. Yeah, it's not good enough. Like, you can't become right by knocking off focus, right? Like, we can go the other way and be like, how did Rode pull this off? Okay, we have legit manufacturers that have been in digital mixers for fucking ever. I come from like the event industry, right? Allen and Heath, Midas, Yamaha, all these guys. How is Rode the best small home podcast mixer under like how
I
did
don't know.
Allen and Heath let that go?
Yeah, I
It was
don't know. I,
like
I don't know how people let this company pass them by, but that's what they're
Rode
doing.
is just cleaning up. They found unbelievable how they've taken everybody's lunch.
Yeah. And now nobody can even catch up. I mean, you have Tascam trying with like the Mixcast 4, which is a solid unit. Actually, it's, in ways it's more solid than the first Rodecaster Pro,
Yeah.
but I still preferred the Rodecaster Pro over it. But it's like, how is no one even stepping up to the plate at this point? Like, and then you've got all these companies releasing Rodecaster Pro competitors, like Yamaha's coming out with an AG08, I believe,
I
and it's a
saw that.
live
It looks
streaming mixer. It doesn't have a fucking SD card in it. Like, if it doesn't record, I'm not interested, because
when I
I
saw
can
the
just hit the road.
AG08, my thought was that it was supposed to be a Go XLR killer on the streaming side. I've had
But
a
there
lot of
already is
people
one of those, and it's
messaging
the
me.
road.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, Yamaha, oh man, I love Yamaha so much. I actually used to be a dealer when we had the business, but it's like they're so good and so such high value, but then sometimes they just kinda miss the mark a little
Yeah.
bit. Just
They make good stuff. I've got a guitar hanging on my wall,
yeah, the
one of my
Pacifica is like
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
I love what they make, and their shit is underrated until it comes down to, like, those big mixing consoles, which are solid, but I mean, this is a brand new release, years after the first Roadcaster, a year or 2 after the second Roadcaster. As
and
a
like 10
company
years after the AG06. Like,
yeah,
the AG06 has been forever.
yeah, and that was pretty cool back then, but, I
I
mean,
still use it on my desk.
it's nice, it's got a lot of IO and it's just good, but h how do you sit down I can't say that every company has a board meeting, but, the think tank, how are they sitting around like, "Oh, no, it doesn't need SD card recording." Like, "Oh, no, it doesn't need a touch screen. No, it doesn't no, we don't need to do any of that." Like and it's like
But
800 bucks. Like, yeah, it does need those
yeah,
because you're letting Rode just take your lunch money every single day, and I just don't get it.
but then they released another product. I saw Harris Heller did a promo for it, but it was basically like an audio interface for streamers, but then it had a HDMI pass through.
Yeah,
But
I
then the
did see that.
HDMI pass through was like 1080 and like a low frame rate. Like no gamer would go for it because that was like the crowning feature of the whole device was it was truly an all-in-one ba 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 ba.
Yep.
But then no gamer is going to go for that if it doesn't have the specs for the video.
Yeah,
It's like
it's confusing.
so close.
They've got
Yeah.
think tanks, and I'm like, "What? Why? Just why?" It just doesn't make sense.
But then they do have genius products too. It's like, yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, and I get being hit and miss, but I just feel like if you are, I just found a broken shock mount. If you just listen to the people, like, if you find if I'm working for Yamaha, or if I'm working for, Zoom or something, like, I'm searching through some of these YouTube channels, Discords, and I'm searching through their comment sections, and I'm finding out what people actually want, because if you go to a lot of these channels and look through that stuff, like, there's a majority, there's definitely a majority that they want something
But then
that's
Rode went the other way, right? They
yeah,
iterated so fast. They figured out we can't software update. And they basically dumped on everybody that just spent 600 bucks on the Roadcaster and like, sorry, we had to make like it didn't do what our future needed it to do. And it's like, whoa, like that's a tough move
it
moving
is.
that fast too.
But at the same time, look at how many people, at least that I've seen, that upgraded. That
Repop.
because
Yeah.
really, you sell your old one, and you just add 100, $200, probably more like 200. But that's worthwhile upgrade to me instead of spending $200 more on the latest and greatest new mixer from a different brand. Like, oh well, Rode just upped their game, and I can sell mine and buy that for a couple hundred more. Like, I'm cool with that. Like, it didn't bother me a bit when that came out because I had the Rodecaster Pro when the second one came out. I was like, "That's cool." I was like, "I'm not gonna buy it, but, if I wanted to, sell this and do that, and, no hard feelings from me, like, it looks better in every single way, so who am I to be mad?"
Yeah. Was better than one. My knock on the Mixcast is just that you're just wanting to start a podcast with your friends. And you want four SM7Bs and a Roadcaster because those people are out there. They just want to go for it. The Tascam just appears more technical. Like the settings aren't quite as like easy button.
No,
It's like I would compare it like Android versus iPhone. Like the Roadcaster literally just works. You turn it on within 45 seconds, you can have four hot mics and an SD card. You're cooking.
yeah.
Where like even to firmware upgrade the Tascam, you have to like download a file onto an SD card.
Yeah, that was
You have to
pain.
transfer it over. You have to do this like hard boot to the. It's like what like where the Roadcaster just updates over the air like magically. It's like okay,
Yeah.
like
Task
just a
is
better
everything.
product. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, and I owned that Tascam Mixcast 4 for maybe 2 months, and I think by the time the second update came out, I was like, I don't like doing this. Like, I really don't I really don't wanna do it this way. Like, I miss the Rodecaster Pro. So I was like, piss on it. Like, you know, it's just spoken word. So I got rid of everything and just grabbed a Zoom P4, the PodTrack P4. I was like, you know, the pandemic killed off most of my in-house podcasts. Like I used to have a group of, you know, buddies that I could just bring up like, hey, I'm recording tonight. The first two of you that get here, like that's who's going to be on mics. And, you know, we do that. And the pandemic just absolutely killed that off. So now,
Yeah.
like I'll just keep a P4 around in case people tend to drop by and want to record, but I'm not going to have a $700 mixer in here for when it's essentially just me most of the time. So,
Yeah.
which is where this
Makes sense.
comes from. It's like, hey, if I want a little human connection, I'll just do it virtually. We'll just do it, you know, over the air.
Yeah. Well, this is sweet.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it's a nice little format. I'm surprised at how good it looks after the fact. Like, yeah, the internet and stuff. Well, I'm sure there's some fuzzy parts and some glitches here and there, but it's simple, you know. And my channel's a lot about simplicity, and I just yeah, just want to get more people on that I have a respect for and a you know a thirst for those videos. Like, and I'm kind
I
of
was just
on to
thinking it would even be cool if we got like 5 or 6 of us. Like I think there's like Tom. I've never interacted with Bandrew in any meaningful way, but I've seen a million of his videos. Him, Audio Hotline. Like it'd be actually kind of cool to have like 6 or 8 of us that
it
are like
would.
part of like a once a month and 4 make it 1 month and 3 make it the next. But
Yeah, and I think a
I
lot of
think
viewers would
honestly,
like that. So
yeah, totally. I think that'd just be interesting to see what comes up.
maybe that's what's next.
But
I don't know if you can do it through the YouTube Live app, but shit, there's apps for that. There's programs for that. So yeah, that would be fun.
yeah,
Then it would just become a matter of like who's hosting it, you know, who's who's reaping the everybody will reap the rewards, but who's reaping the instant gratification off that one. But
yeah. Give it to some unknown. Just blow up some random channel.
yeah, that would be fun. And there's some good ones out there, man.
Yeah.
It's hard to grow. I mean, it took me a long
Every once in a while, yeah, I see like a killer video. I'm like, whoo, this has a ton of information. It's like 69 views. Like, what?
yeah. And
Like this guy's like,
that's where I get that whole like, you know, people love their polished and three camera angles and just, you know, you can tell somebody spent days on this video. And it's like, fuck, for 69 views and for 3 subscribers, you know, like it's tough out there. It is tough. I
yeah,
feel very fortunate to have the, you know, the small following that I have because, you know, I'm not competing with anyone as far as visuals go. So it is
I
all
learned a lot about efficiency. Like this couple 30-day sprints I did, where it's just like, I'm gonna do 30 videos in 30 days. And it's like, you learn, oh, nobody cared about that. They just want the meat and potatoes.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But I know I could learn to storytell and script better. I just
Yeah, but if it's not what you do, you know, and if it's not what you
yeah,
it's just, you know, you gotta set out and like I do another channel where I'm just attempting to do like tech stuff. It's obscure tech. And I'm just like, you know, if I'm interested in a phone or a tablet or this or that, like I'm not trying to make anything of it. It's just why not? You know, 'cause sometimes I'm like, I don't want to do a microphone video today. I want to do a video about some weird random netbook or something that I get enjoyment out of. And I don't put too much I don't put too much into those as far as like just trying to have fun with them. Like, here's the information, you know. So it's yeah, it's about what you do. Like maybe in the future you'll get into knitting and you'll have a badass knitting channel where you're knitting and telling stories the whole time. You know, it's different different things for different ideas. I like the
I
idea
keep
because I sometimes I just want the shit shot to me straight, and
yeah.
you're excellent with that stuff. Like, I want to know how to make these cables do this. I don't want to hear somebody
It is
think
like
about it. I just want to hear how it happens.
I do get flamed on it sometimes too, because it's like in like if I'm like doing a series, I have this philosophy that's like I know how I am when I buy stuff online, and this is the way I make the videos that I make. If I want to get into podcast, see the dining with the roadcaster with this boom arm, I want to see it all in one video. So I literally just make a matrix of like microphones and mixers, and I'm just grinding these videos. So like 8 videos in a row, I have to the difference between like line level, mic level, and balanced versus unbalanced, and TRS versus TS. And it's like, do not name knitting channel Kettner Creative Knitting because that acronym isn't right. And actually, this is a misconception. Creative is actually spelled with a C.
On
I
the
did not want
website,
to
yeah.
bump into this.
I'll probably have to change.
It's the logo that makes it look like the
Ah,
KKK,
that's it.
but it's the second one is actually supposed to be a C. It's
That
spelt normally because I want the alliteration, but I don't want to have to tell everybody that I give my email to. It's creative with a K.
yeah.
I just want to say creative.
That's kinda funny, so I'll have to
But yeah,
fix the title when I'm done.
I did see it. I'm like, should I let them know? Nah,
I should also put, like, Karen from Kettner Creative and just yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
But yeah,
gosh.
Kettner Creative Knitting.
Knitting was not
Yeah,
the
that
best
would be
option.
unfortunate.
Recommending a channel to you, so maybe it's crochet, KKC.
Yeah, especially with the German heritage that I have, it's
Right.
not a good move.
I think my heritage is also German, so, yeah, not feeling good about myself right now.
Yeah.
I'll be alright though.
But yeah, so those videos do, I think, kind of drive my audience nuts because I'll literally make the same video 5 days in a row with just a different microphone. But it's like, I'm not making it for you. I'm making it for the guy that wants to see this set of stuff because I know how I am. I'm just making the video for him, and I have chapters. You can skip the chapter on line level and PRS and whatever.
Yeah,
It's all good.
that's kinda like that
Yeah,
reminds me of the guy I was talking about earlier that I need to hit the notification bell, the voiceover guy, because he's done 3 videos 3 days in a row, and it's all about this microphone he got on Alibaba. But I've watched all 3, and all 3 were enjoyable, so I'm like, "You keep it up," "Let's do a sibilance
yeah.
test tomorrow and just focus on that." So, yeah,
And I
future
do
wishes.
like value subscribers. Like I'm super thankful for the support. Yeah, right, exactly. That is correct, Andrew. But I don't track the number at all like, I think,
No.
yeah, I'm somewhere in the 50s, but I'm not chasing I would love a plaque, like, that seems like an achievement, but it's like, yeah, I'm thankful for the support, but at the end of the day, I'm just trying to literally answer as many questions for as many people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's me too. I don't look at the numbers very often. Like, I do go into my YouTube Studio app, just see how many subs I get, like, day to day, but I don't research who they are, or I don't look at my video analytics. Yeah, that stuff just as a banker, I don't give a shit about numbers. But, I just don't that's a lot of work. That's a
yeah, I
lot
don't
of work for something I can't control. Like, but I can control the videos I make, I can control, the community I build by finding like-minded people, and, there's things I can control that are enjoyable, but I can't control the numbers, I can't control the revenue. None of that stuff is really within my power, especially when you don't give a shit about the algorithm like you and I clearly said we do not. So, I'm not
yeah, I'm
playing
not
that game.
timing.
I don't want nothing to do with that. It's like I just wanna find my circle, and this has been a kick-ass 5 years as far as, like, finding my circle goes. Like, some of the people I love to
Yeah,
talk to the most are doing the same shit that I'm doing, and, those friends that were only friends by default because they live here that I have nothing in common with. It's like, I still like you guys, but, I'm hopping online with Jared to talk about his knitting channel tonight, so
yes. Yeah, it is pretty cool, like, we're thinking about moving to a small town smaller than where we're at, and, like, "What about opportunity for my kids and this and that?" And I'm like, "Well, the thing that, like, I'm doing right now has nothing to do with anywhere where I am." Like, they'll figure it out. Yeah,
yeah.
the new way if
And
you're talented.
you are in Canada currently?
Yeah, I'm just outside Vancouver, BC.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I have a buddy named Marty that I met through all this. He doesn't do YouTube, but he does a podcast. And he's right outside of Vancouver as well. But
nice.
yeah, I like the
Yeah,
Canadians. I
I'm
get
in
along with them better. My dude Strike Boogie. Ever heard of Strike Boogie? He's a not really hip hop artist, more R&B, but he's in Canada. I don't know how big he is up there, but his shit's good. But
Linus is, like, 20 minutes from here.
Linus Tech.
He's right next
Man,
door.
I
Yeah,
was so involved in that. I was so sucked into that whole story. And that's my kind of thing, man. I don't give a shit about celebrities. I don't care what Beyonce's doing. I don't care what I do care what Pedro Pascal's doing. I fucking love that guy. But I don't care about most celebrities, but I do care about, YouTubers. And I'm like, damn, mine just got hacked. That's a big
Yeah,
story.
and there's been a lot leading up to it similar. Like Think Media had a similar thing not too long ago, a
I
couple
didn't
weeks
know that.
ago. Yeah, they
I
had
don't
the
see
same thing.
anything pop up in my timeline at all anymore. Canucks fan.
Uh,
Are you a
I
Canucks fan?
was I actually used to have season tickets as a kid, but ever since like all the player strikes and all that, by the second player strike, I was like, I can't do this anymore. Moved on.
I've aged out. Audio has taken over sports for me. Like this all started with a fantasy football podcast, and I just don't even
Really?
care. Yeah, yeah. I was like, man, the format we play in fantasy football, there's no podcast, so let's just do it ourselves, and we did, and it was successful, and it worked out great. Then the pandemic killed it, and now I don't like give a shit less about football. Now it's like football or the newest SE electronics microphone. Yeah,
Man,
I'll
they've
go.
been killing it. Yeah.
Yeah, they have. They really have. Well, you had the Dynacaster in front of you a minute ago.
Yeah, I guess
That
it's now they renamed it the DM8, I guess,
Yeah, a little confusing, the old
but
Dynacaster.
yeah, I was late on the game. I finally got one like a month ago or something, and yeah,
Good mic.
I'd, I'd say it's like my desert island mic right now. Like for
It's good.
value and this and that, it's like you can make it do whatever you want almost.
Yeah, and it's still, pushing half the price of the SM7B, and it still has great plosive projection. Build quality is just as good. Filters are
Active
better.
or passive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hard to beat. And that's the thing too. When you see other mic companies and audio companies, not just mixers and stuff, but people releasing microphones that are four, five, $600, but they don't even come close to the Dynacaster. It's like, what the hell? What are you thinking?
I know.
Again,
I saw so much hype on like the Sona. So I was like, oh, okay. I finally coughed it up, bought one. And I liked it at the beginning, and it's like and then you realize kind of where it's sitting in the market. Like, like, yeah, the Dynacaster is $100 less and better in every way. Like, you could have the debate Dynacaster on SM7B all day, but it's like Dynacaster on Sona is no brainer.
well, that's a weird thing too. It's like dynamics. Like I like a good dynamic mic. Like to me, they're the best for the things that I do, which is podcasting and YouTube videos. And I don't do a lot of vocals in the studio making music, but how good can a dynamic be? Like, and if it is going to be good, it's because it's going to have those things the Dynacaster has, which is a booster built in, the filters to change the tone so it can be used across many voices. But how many dynamics have you threw in front of your face and talked into it and be like, holy shit, that's great? Like, it just doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, I have this theory. It's just like, yeah, you did the Mayano PD100, and I've done a couple videos on it now. It's like if you put that on a podcast, like 99.9999% of people couldn't tell a difference between that and the Sona. And even
Yeah.
if they could tell a difference, they would like hopefully the message of your content supersedes that difference, right? It's like $50 now, you can get a mic that allows you to say what you need to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If someone were to tell me like today, like, we've got to come take all your audio equipment and we're gonna just give you $75 worth of stuff. Like, and they gave me a PD100 and a cheap interface. Like, I would continue to podcast and make videos. My videos wouldn't be about mics anymore, obviously, but it'd be fine. Like, it'd still sound great because there's so many people out there just recording with mics, and they may have a nice one, but it may be 3 feet away from them. They may be throwing plosives into it like crazy. They may be talking in a really, you know, echoey room. It's like, yeah, I can make any cheap dynamic work to where people will be like, oh, this sounds professional because it does. It's anytime the audio doesn't just sound like trash and it sounds focused, it sounds professional for the most part. So a PD100,
Even when you get
pretty
into
good.
that whole like USB versus XLR thing, it's like
I,
people
I
drive me
hate
crazy.
I hate USB mics. I'm using one because of the format we're using this in. I do not like them, but that's more of a gearhead thing. That's more because I love that feel of clicking an XLR cable in. I love that piece of equipment with the buttons and the dials, and I don't want one little knob and a headphone jack that's usually weak. Like I don't like USB mics, but again, if I had to use one, I would continue to create audio because it is good. It is easily good enough for the most part.
Yeah, it's not a barrier in any way.
No, no.
Yeah.
And when you get, really, I don't want to say, don't know the exact words to use for it, but like I can typically hear that digitally, uh, you know, fake aspect of a USB mic. Like they do sound, they just have a sound to them. Not all of them, but most of them have a sound to them that's just like, yeah, that's just not right. Like it sounds good, but that little bit you can just hear like it's just a little too Tron like, this would fit right in the movie Tron. It just has that digital artifact in it. And I hate that sound, but they're not all like that. And that's just
Yeah.
one of those things like nobody's going to catch that. Nobody's going to catch if it
No.
sounds a little oversaturated or a little oddly processed because it's a weird USB mic. Nobody knows. I was going to do an episode about my favorite podcasts and what they use, and I reached out to like 5 of my favorite podcasts, and I love all of these shows, and 3 of them were using Blue Yetis,
Right.
and I would have never known. I would have never known. Like, whatever,
My
it's
jaw
fine.
hits the floor that that's, like, still for sale at Best Buy, like, with a straight face.
Thing's old. It's
It's
old.
that's, like, over a decade easily.
Yeah.
It's like, there's nothing wrong with it. It was
No,
good
it's
for its
fine if
time,
you
and
use
it's
it
fine.
correctly. Yeah. I mean, one of the podcasts, I was blown away when this girl told me, like, "Yeah, I'm just using a Blue Yeti." I'm like, "Well, you're fucking using it right because it sounds like you sound good." I don't sound good like that on it, but you sound great on it. So yeah, don't change anything.
Well, in Canada anyway, they're still, like, $150. It's like
Oh God, and people still buy them, even though
right?
there's tons of options that are, 2 decades newer than that thing. People still buy them.
Yeah,
That's
whatever.
marketing for you. That's
Yeah,
the glory of marketing. Well, I told you earlier, if you need to go, have at it, bluntly do it, and it ends up being me that needs to go. So
no, it's all good. This has been awesome. Yeah, I'm super thankful that you reached out. Been
I'm
fun.
glad you decided to
Need to
do
do
it,
more of it.
and you decided to hop on an hour early because I completely screwed up. So I
Yeah.
appreciate that as well.
No, it's all good. Yeah.
Yeah, I
You just need to
appreciate it. But
change just gotta change the spelling. That's it.
I am gonna get right on that actually. Too many K's in there. That
Yeah.
but you're right though, man. It is the logo. I was just like, wait,
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, the logo's got 2 K's in it. I'm just gonna roll with that. But
Yeah.
that's what I do. If I had $1 for
Yeah.
every time somebody commented on one of my videos and like typo or hey, you messed this part up or hey, you accidentally burped in the middle. Like, okay, I'll go fix that real quick. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, man, thank you. I appreciate the heck out of you coming on. Like, it's not easy to find guests that just want to hop on randomly with and talk about
Yeah.
audio gear and stuff
Do
like
reach
that.
out anytime. Yeah. If you ever
Yeah,
wanna do it
and
again,
that's
happy
what
to.
made me comfortable. And thank you for that. Like the I haven't been on Twitter very long with my obscure mics page, and just some of the people that I don't know. I always like to assume that anybody who's so quick to just be kind and discuss back and forth like, being strangers and not talking politics or any kind of garbage, but just, treating each other with a shred of respect from a creative perspective. I'm like, yeah, this dude's channel's like, 10 times bigger than mine and he's just cool as can be. Like it's nothing.
Yeah, I
So
like your videos, man. Yeah.
I
They're
appreciate that.
awesome.
But I mean, it's the whole connection thing, man. Just agreeing to do this, chatting with me online, like before tonight. You don't really know me at all, but it's like we have a common thread. Let's
For sure.
make something out of it. Let's knit with that common thread.
Yes.
Kettner Creative Knitting coming at you guys soon. I hope. Uh, but yeah, thanks for hopping on with me, man. And everybody that's came on here with me again, always welcome to do it again or vice versa on a different channel. Like I just like having a good conversation. I appreciate you joining me tonight for one.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Jared. I will see you later. I'll talk to you more on the Twitter and the Twitter, as us Southern people say. And yeah, thanks for everybody joining. Sorry we didn't answer a whole lot of questions and stuff, but it was a good conversation. It's hard to interrupt it with questions every 5 minutes. But of course, Bandrew snuck some in there, but he made some funny comments.
Cool.
Thanks, Jared. I'll see you guys
Yeah.
next time, and I'll talk to you again soon.
Peace out.
See ya.
Yeah.
How do I end this thing? There it is.